Alright, channel. It's happening. So, I don't have big enough air quotes to say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu slash MMA fighter gets shot and killed by police officer. This video that Freddie Lee is marketing as a selling point for his stance against mixed martial arts and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a whole, using this man's death to head the way for his views. Now, what happened? What really happened? Look at, you can see what happened. Guy is maybe coming out of this fancy social event. He's all dressed up. He's being held down by this cop for whatever reason. I don't even know. The video cuts in as this man is about to be detained. And two people are videotaping this. And they think the cop is being a little rough, too much, you know, could be some kind of abuse of authority issues. It's up to you to decide that. I mean, that's a matter of opinion. But what happened is, this guy, regardless of whether or not he had training, you know, that wasn't going to deter him in trying to wrestle with this cop, because he was scared, he was probably a little drunk, he was making bad decisions, and the fact that he had never taken a class or had taken classes in his life, you know, that wasn't going to change his mind in grabbing this cop and trying to get the better of the situation. And, well, he did that. He grabbed the back of the cop's legs, rolled him over, didn't even get him in like full side control, just kind of kneeled over him while the cop was on his back. The cop was just laying on his back while this guy was kneeling over him. And he dropped like one or two rabbit punches on the cop's face. I doubt hits like that are even going to leave a black eye, because I've been hit like that, and it's nothing to fucking shoot anybody over, trust me. Yeah, this cop didn't tase him, didn't pepper spray him, didn't wait for the situation to be broken up by two people that were coming over there that he had addressed for help prior, but they didn't feel like they wanted to get in the situation. Then the camera turns because they're walking over to break it up, you know, help the cop out. Now steps need to be taken to break it up, because cop's not tasing him, cop's not pepper spraying him, cop sure as shit isn't using what are they called, Freddie? Defensive tactics. You learn that in the police academy for situations like these. Didn't use those either. Immediately before, like 3 seconds after he gets punched in the face the first time, not even like 2 seconds. It's very, very quick. He resorts to deadly force, shooting this man twice at point-blank range. First of all, it wasn't MMA or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that caused this man to be killed. It was poor decision-making skills on everyone's account. The man that was killed for, you know, getting physical with a police officer when his life was not in danger in the first place. You know, this man was just going to be taken downtown. Hey, it's not the end of the world. Just deal with it. You'll be fine. This is a police officer's fault for immediately being a pussy of just like giant proportions, and shooting the guy twice when there were so many other things you could have done, especially if you would have just done next to nothing except grab the guy back and try to hold off his fists while these other two people peel him off to where he can get him in cuffs and take him downtown. Okay, if he didn't want to tase him or use pepper sprays or use defensive tactics training on him, he could have waited 5 seconds and this guy would have lived. But like I said, you know, the cop was obviously a vagina of epic proportions and killed him for no reason. Also, that man was wrong for putting his hands on the cop. So it was just bad decisions all around that led to this guy dying. And they want to point out with how Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, MMA was the reason for Trayvon Martin to die. Trayvon Martin didn't have any MMA training. Didn't have any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training. He got in a fight with George Zimmerman after George Zimmerman was told by the 911 operator not to follow him. George Zimmerman was a neighborhood watch. He watched, and he called. He did the neighborhood watch's job. No one was in danger. He wasn't breaking in anywhere. He was just hanging around where George Zimmerman felt he wasn't supposed to be, and he ignored advice from 911 and followed him. They fought. They could have been avoided if George Zimmerman wasn't stupid, you know. But he was. And George Zimmerman was actually the one with MMA training. He had been going to some classes. But he shot him. Shot and killed this kid. It's not about whether or not you've been involved in MMA or whether or not you've been involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Both of these decisions, both of these situations where people died were a result of poor decision-making skills and tragic outcomes. And the readiness to shoot somebody where shooting people should not have even been, you know, an option in the first place. This guy was going to be fine. Both of them were going to be alright. Especially if George Zimmerman had not followed the kid in the first place. Especially if this cop had waited 2 goddamn seconds for these people that were taking the help out, which they were on the way over in the first place. Alright? The fact that you're going to use the fact that these people had died to bolster your argument, that your argument now has a body count of dead people's names, which you're willing to bring up and repackage the situation to fit the tired-ass, stupid argument of your school versus MMA, and give it some credibility with now what has a body count, is fucking disgusting. Not even, it doesn't even matter that the arguments are irrelevant, and you're just like trying to repackage them in the first place to what fits your talking points. Alright? Not to mention, the facts that you're bringing up about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA being involved in these situations are blatantly incorrect. It's just the fact that you're willing to use dead people that haven't been even gone for that long. You know, you're just throwing them on the table with the rest of your opinions. You're a disgusting person. You're a piece of shit. I'm sure their families would really appreciate you using their recently dead loved ones and your little fucking I told you so's that don't even make sense in the first place. You disgusting asshole. Go fuck yourself, Freddie. I knew you were low, but goddamn, you're surprising even me at this point.